Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX, and it is time for the daily video update. So we've got some nice levels to look at. Let's get started on them. First of all, we've seen an interesting day in the market. The Dow and S&P have been in a pretty big downward slide the last several days now at this point. We saw a little bit of a comeback, closing about 90 points in the positive, about 10 points on the S&P, so just about 0.75% up on both those markets, and oil's back up over 102 again, and gold seems to be holding pretty steady. So you can see though the Dow is way off of that. It got quite a bit above 13,000, and it's given up all those gains and then some. But it's recovered quite a bit today. We don't have any news coming out today, this morning, last night, nothing until Australia's employment numbers, which this will be some big movement. We're going to talk about the Australian setup, but those are going to be, big numbers to watch for. So if you have any Aussie trades, Aussie yen, Aussie dollar, be very careful. There's pretty much no safe way to be in the market during that unless you're just taking your chance on luck. Coming into the UK session tonight, once again, we don't have any significant information or news coming out, but we do have some pretty good stuff tomorrow morning, so this should get the markets moving. Dollar index still hanging in there. It's holding above that, or right at that 80 mark, just barely below it right now, and really having kind of a tough time, excuse me, doing anything. And as you can see, the euro dollar, just a quick glance at the hourly chart on the euro dollar, very choppy, very, very choppy, just kind of in a channel of, we're about 5 days into this channel. Pound dollar, you can see the same thing, very choppy, 5-day channel. Aussie dollar, pretty similar, a little bit bigger movements, but very choppy as well. So hopefully we'll get out of these channels and make some movement. I am looking at the euro dollar, and if we do get a break above this 131.50, I think we've got ourselves a decent little trade to look for, and some nice pips. Anything before that, I think, is just going to continue to be chop and more chop. So I'm not really motivated to do too much with the euro dollar until it gets above 131.50. Or we're actually in a sell in the group already. We have a short position on this euro dollar. As you can see, we got in right on the break of this nice little double top, and as soon as that low broke, we jumped into it, and it's just hopping around. It's kind of going slow. The next level I would say to get into is going to be right around this 130.90. A break of 130.90 should really confirm some good downward movement. So it's currently sitting about 131.08, and not really moving too much at this point. But a nice break below this would get us below this trend line right here, which is a very nicely confirmed trend line, by the way. Big bounce up, big double top there. This should be a very, very nice breakout. So watch that 130.90 and look for sell opportunities right there. Otherwise, we're not going to get until about 131.60 or so as soon as we clear those highs. So that's what I'll be looking for on the euro dollar. Pound dollar is consolidating in this big ugly channel as well. Anything above 159.30 is good. I think if we really clear these highs, maybe about 159.40, I think we've got ourselves a buy opportunity. You can see that the market's currently about 30 plus pips away from that area. So if we get above that high, we should have a nice little opportunity to take this pair probably into about 160 at least. So we're looking for, probably a nice 60 pip trade. So keep an eye on that. Look for that break of 159.30. Now, if that does not go, if we don't get a break of 159.30, then I'm just looking for this level that we have been watching over and over and over again, and it is 158.80. If the pound dollar gets below 158.80, I just want to clear all these little kind of choppy points right here. That's why I'm not looking to just get in, below this trend line. I want to give it a few more pips and make sure that we can get below this junk, and then we've got ourselves a nice little trade to the downside. So break of 158.80, I will be in this trade, and I'm going to be looking for at least taking it at least back down to 158.30, so at least 50 pips on this movement. Could get a little choppy in the Asian session, so just kind of keep that in mind. But 159.30 on the top, 159.40 actually, and 158.80 on the bottom. We just got to get out of this channel either way, and we should see some pretty good movement there. Yen pairs kind of just chopping around. Start watching these little trend lines here. You see that this pound yen's kind of in retracement mode. The pound yen has been in a pretty strong little downtrend here. So kind of just keep an eye on this kind of stuff right here, and if this starts to go, then we might have a nice little sell opportunity. The euro yen looks pretty similar, just a nice little ascending trend line right there. So let's watch for those breaks and see if we can get some movement out of that. Aussie dollar, very choppy. On the upside, I want to see this thing get above 103.50. 103.50, as you can see right here, is a pretty nice little level, and if it gets above that, I think we're in for some big upward movement, like 200 pips over a a couple of day period, of course, but I think we should be in some big movement there. If it does not break above that 103.50, then I'm going to be watching for this 102.90 here. You can see this is a very nice little double bottom tested level. We've already broken this trend line right here, but it's continuing to kind of have trouble getting lower. So 102.90 right here, we get a nice little break of that, and I'll be looking to take this thing down, hopefully into those lows. We've got about 50 or 60 pips to work with there. As always, on these breakouts, give yourself about a 30 pip stop, and we're going to be looking for 30, 50, and about 80 pips on this breakout downward here. So just keep an eye on that 102.90, 103.50 at the top. Gold not giving us too much of a signal. It's last 24 hours have been totally flat. We had that big run up yesterday and then just flatness. So we'll see what happens here on gold. But it's just kind of hanging in there, so no big movement there, and we're always keeping our eye on this Euro Swiss franc. It had a little bit of a run up that looks pretty dramatic, and this is starting to try to take out some of those to kick in some of those buy orders, and then kind of just pull back. This is being manipulated and completely run right now. So again, we're looking for kind of some dips down a little bit further below 120, and then we'll start just getting those buying opportunities ready to rock and roll. So we're going to keep our eye on that. So best of luck, guys. We'll see you in the chat. We'll have some updated levels. Our euro dollar trade's looking good, and there's going to be additional entries there on the pound dollar, and should be on this Aussie dollar as well. So best of luck. We'll see you in the chat.